you go. There you go. Fine. So the episode opens up, and there's no title sequence. And I think what they're saying is Doctor Who is not in this, so there's not a Doctor Who title sequence. To me, this does not feel like an episode of Doctor Who. It may be like Quatermassy or like the Daemons, right? The Daemons felt was Doctor Who riff on a Hammer horror movie, right? This felt more like a M.R. James Christmas ghost story riff on Doctor Who, right? It seemed like the ghost story was the thing and not Doctor Who's interpretation of that. And that's why Doctor Who's very good at jumping genres, but it's always Doctor Who's interpretation of these other genres. Fine, so 73 hours, no title sequence, and firstly, I'm like, my first impression, and by the way, watching this on my big screen in 4K looked gorgeous. Oh my God. But like, who needs it? But again, I'm really digging these 4K upgrades. I'm going through Deep Space Nine now. Copyright Squad. What's that mean? Solar engines. Hopefully, this should be the same as like putting up the screen grabs, right? I'm not playing it. So yeah, 73 yards and no title sequence. The Doctor appears, the TARDIS appears, and I'm kind of blown away at how much better they do the Jodie regeneration like location here than they did it on whatever it was. What was it the Jodie? It was in where they do that? I can't. But they were. It was even CGI. They weren't allowed to put TARDIS there, and then they got a lot of crap for it. So anyway, Ncuti jumps at the TARDIS. I just don't like this Doctor. I'm sorry. He's annoying, right? He's just annoying. I'm not buying him as a Doctor, right? And they're like, yeah, we're in Wales. Wales is the best. We love a bit of Wales, right? And Ruby's like, oh, I've been to Wales twice before. I went to see something, and then when she was 16, she went with a boy and said, oh, it broke his heart. I bet you did, darling. I bet you did, right? Right, and so they're looking around, and so they're like talking about how great. Oh yeah, so then they bring up the name of the who was supposed to be the villain, but you really hardly saw him. Yeah, one second, let me pull up the 73 yards. Let me see if I can find a synopsis or the. Wikipedia, so at least I know the names of the characters. IMDb, fine, we'll do that. It's Arnaud Bernard Roger ap Gwilym, right? He's like, yeah, the worst prime minister ever came from Wales, Roger ap Gwilym, and he said, oh wait, where are you from? You're from 2024. He's from 2046. So spoilers, right? And he brings the world on the brink of nuclear war. Not bad. It's a little bit clunky. It's a little bit clunky, but it's a good way of introducing the big bad. Even though he really isn't, he's just an irrelevancy, right? I am convinced they edited out his political stuff, right? So anyway, as they're walking here, one second, the Doctor, doofus that he is, steps on this thing and breaks the circle. Right, and they're like, and none of this is ever explained. But okay, but right now it's good. Right now they got an interesting, creepy start, right? Which better than anything they've had so far, right? So this was a very good shot, right? They're trying to work out what's going on. Millie's looking at these little notes out of there saying "Rest in peace." Was it Mad Jack? Something like, yeah, I think Mad Jack is what there. Rest in peace. And she's looking at him. Then she looks back over at the Doctor, and he's gone. Right, he's gone from frame, and she's all alone. Again, here's a problem. This is why I found this episode boring, because it hooked me at this point, and it just like kept reeling me, and just never reeled me in. Right, it was like the first part of the story. So she's like, "Where's the Doctor? Where?" And then she sees this old woman. Now, I said earlier, when I saw this old woman, I said, wouldn't And it can't be this because it's way too obvious, right? It's way too obvious that's old Millie from the future coming back to sort out the problem. Old Ruby from the future. But that just seems to be like the most obvious way to go, right? So she sees this woman, and it, I wish it kind of lived up to what Russell Davis was actually saying about it as well, which was that it's all about the Welsh folklore, spooky stories. Not really. I mean, again, if you mean it just feels like it's underwritten. It feels like there's just not enough information conveyed to be able to portray the story. It's not a mystery, right? It's underwritten, right? It doesn't. Mystery feels like there's a deliberate bit of mystery. Okay, you know what's a great mystery that's written to be that way? If you look at the movie Inception, right? I love the movie Inception, but the very end. So Inception, it's a great movie. It's got Leonardo DiCaprio, and it's all about trying to work out when you're in dreams and when you're not in dreams, when you're in dreams and reality. And everybody has this little way of telling if they're in a dream or reality. And his one is it's this little spinning thing, and he spins it, and if it doesn't fall over, he's in a dream, and if it falls over, he's in reality, right? So the final shot of it is he thinks he's made it out into reality. He's not dreaming, and it's a spinning top, right? And it's spinning and spinning and spinning. It's about to fall, you think, and then boom, cuts to black. That's a mystery. This is nonsensical stuff that doesn't make sense, that doesn't really work. So you got this woman, and she's doing these weird hand movements. Right here, what's it? Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's doing like these weird hand movements, and she's over there, and so she goes to talk to her, and she's constantly 73 yards away, right? She's constantly in the distance, which they explain later is just far enough that you can't focus on who it is. Even if you could focus on who it is, you wouldn't know because it's a different actress. Like you wouldn't be able to tell. So that she ends up walking to this village that's a few miles away. Oh, here we meet Susan Twist. Do you think Susan Twist is Ruby's mother? It could be. I mean, she's something. I mean, like, but this is so not like Bad Wolf, which was much more organic and subtle, right? Do you remember season 1 where everybody kept mentioning Bad Wolf? Right, this is a Bad Wolf scenario. I can't stand Ruby, says Matthew Burrows. She's smug and annoying, and she feels like a normal, 18-year-old, right? And I like and she's hot. What can I tell you? She's hot. That goes a long way. So anyway, she meets Susan Twist, and he says, "Look, can you see this woman over there? The village is down. Can you see this woman over there?" I said, "Yeah, of course." And she says, "Well, she's following me, but not. Can you see what she wants, and if she knows where my friend is?" She's Ruby's version of the Impossible Girl. Yes. Fine. So she goes over there and she talks to him, and then here I'll play this. When she talks to him, she tells her something, and we never find out what it is, right? And then do not want to get copyright zapped. Then she screams and runs away. Looks at Ruby, screams and runs away. So again, really good, creepy beginning, right? And for me, this actually is binoculars, says DSB. Yes. What a brilliant answer. I didn't even think of that. So anyway, so then finally she makes it to the local pub, the village local pub, and the woman's still that far away. And you get, again, a nice creepy reenaction of American Werewolf in London. Like she walks into the pub and everyone's like, "Oh, what's going on here? Who are you, stranger?" And they're like, "You're walking out of the cold." Here's the other thing. They keep talking about how cold it is. And look, it looks lovely out. I don't want to tell you. Like we've seen cold in Doctor Who. This doesn't. doesn't look that cold, right? So she walks into the pub, and she tells them the same thing, right? Tells them the same, and the pub scene kind of works and then kind of falls apart at the same time. So she tells them the same thing that she's there's a woman following her, and she was no. She basically, is there a cult thing going on? And they're like, well, that's kind of racist to say, we have all this cult stuff in Wales, right? But this woman starts talking about like a cult law, right? And again, Mike Waiters here says reducing the amount of shooting to keep improving the show. That is true, right? That is really true. Shooting is just isn't really pulling it out, right? Looks familiar to American Werewolf of London. It's exactly the same as American Werewolf of London, Petey Rich, right? It's exactly the same, right? She said, she's a lesbian. Who? I don't know. I mean, I guess if it's a BBC, everyone's a lesbian. So there's all this cult law she talks about. And this guy says, look, I'll go and talk to her for you. I'm heading out off in that direction. So off he goes. He goes to talk to her. And same thing, runs screaming and never comes back to the pub, right? So it's like, what's going on? Fine. So eventually, Ruby's asked if she have a room, and she's like, yeah, £65 a night. But that sounds quite reasonable, frankly. And then she asked for a Coke, which is a £5, right? £5, which seems somewhat excessive. So now they're like saying, she's talking about the circle they broke, and Mad Jack lies here, and they've let Mad Jack out, right? And it's all again super duper creepy. And eventually they all just start laughing, and they were winding her up, right? That's all that's going on. But it goes on for quite some time. And next day, still there, right? Still there, and she gives them a coat, and she goes to hang. And she can't get in the TARDIS. The key doesn't work for some reason. Again, so much stuff makes no freaking sense. Like, it would be okay. You don't need to explain everything, right? You don't need to explain every second of every day, right? We've got to have some kind of explanation for something, right? Which you really don't, right? You really, truly don't at this point. So she ends up staying there. Oh, wait. One sec. She goes. Where's the? No, this is after she's been there for a while. Right, so she takes a chair, she waits there, and the doctor doesn't show up. So eventually she works out that she needs to go back home, right? And the woman's always that distance away, right? So she gets on the train, and the woman's still there as the train goes by outside the window. Right, and it keeps seeing there. She goes, so again, how far are we into this now? We're about 20 minutes in. We're 18 minutes in, and the mystery's set up. I know there's a mystery now. And now I'm getting bored waiting for the bloody answer to the mystery. But I know there's a mystery there, and it's set up, right? Okay, great. Fine. So she goes to see her mother, goes back home, said, oh, yeah, apparently she called, and they're going to work it all out. And she said, look, there's a weird, creepy woman sitting out there. Yeah, 1 second. Let's see if we can see her. There's a weird, creepy woman out and says, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'll go with my phone, and you can listen, and you can hear what she has to say. Now, when we get to the denouement of this, why can't she communicate? I don't understand why she couldn't communicate at all to Ruby, and why she had to be 73 yards away. Like, there's so many bloody questions that just doesn't make any bloody sense, right? And it's not like it can't make sense, but there's no explanation presented, right? So again, a lot of this is very good. This was another good creepy scene, but it's wearing on now, right? The joke's wearing on, right? And she talks there, and she can't hear him, and the mother does exactly the same thing. They looks back at Ruby, and they goes, runs away, right? She runs after her mother, and her mother gets a taxi, and just like, and she's got this like hatred in her eyes. Here, 1 second. Right, again. By the way, Gibson performance at this point really great. It only really starts to go off the rails. That doesn't even go off the rails. Just doesn't do what it's supposed to do. When starting about 5-10 minutes. Con Archer says, everybody that Ruby sends to talk to the mysterious woman runs away in terror. You'll think she'll stop sending people to talk to her. Yeah, I mean, well, I can understand strangers, but you wouldn't expect a mother to run away in terror, right? So that bit makes sense to me, because it's based on the film. It follows. Oh, well, what's that movie here? Let's see if we can pull that up. It follows movie. Follows 2014. After a strange sexual encounter, well, you know, I'm always up for strange sexual encounters. A teenager finds herself haunted by nightmarish visions. Okay. I mean, I guess looks like it's reasonably similar. Again, none of this feels fresh. I said it. None of this new era feels fresh. Funny, no. Okay, I take that back. Jinx Monsoon felt fresh, but like I don't like that freshness. Frankly, that freshness makes me feel a little bit dirty, right? But yeah, okay. I knew it must have been ripping off something. So then, and she won't come back, right? And off she goes. Right, the soap acting really helps her. I remember when she filmed this, right? Seeing the location for filming of this. And she's like, her grandmother's like, she just ran away. She won't return a call. She won't pick up the phone. And then she kind of like, she keeps calling and she's going shopping. And then she comes home and she finds the lock's been changed, right? And she's like, what? So she just stays there. And eventually she gets a message from her mother saying, look, you stop calling, okay? Just go away, right? Just go away, right? She says she's grifting. You know, she knows exactly who a real mother is. Oh. No, she doesn't say that. She says even your real mother didn't want you. Maybe saying something else. But I don't want to play it because I'll get copyright zapped, right? So Ruby is now completely alone. And she says even your mother didn't want you. And that's what you get that. Whenever they talk about her mother, you get this snow from the day that she was given away or left by the church appears. But apparently that's the last time. So then, again, we saw this being filmed. She meets up with Kate Lethbridge Stewart. Well, why don't you pop over to David Tennant's house? Pop over to Donna, see if she can work it out. You know, or, you know, the 14th Doctor. It's just stupid. The whole bi-generation thing was stupid beyond stupid beyond stupid. Like last week's episode, stupid. He was standing on a landmine. Use your bloody sonic screwdriver, right? You couldn't even put a line in to explain why you can't use a sonic screwdriver. No. So she explains what's going on. Said, don't worry, we're going to look after it. And they say, fine, we're going to take her in. And here, 1 second. This was it. Again, Gemma Redgrave is never better than in this moment, right? So I don't want to say there's nothing to recommend this episode. I would say that of other ones, right? There's a lot good going on in these episodes, right? But again, all the bits just don't add up to anything. It's so frustrating, right? It's so really frustrating. So they go and get her, right? But instead they say, don't engage, don't talk to her. But of course they talk to her, right? And then here, see if we can get this bit where they you see Kate is usurped.
Engage.
Do not engage.
No, Kate, what's she saying?
Yeah. What? This is a great performance, okay? And it's so annoying. We never find out what they're saying. But you know, you can't say what she's saying because this is a setup that doesn't work, right? Yeah, that's a really good creepy bit. But we are 27 minutes in right now. I am getting bored. Now it's turned into a Shaggy Dog story, right? Now it's just going on and on and on and on, right? And she's like, runs away, right? And so Ruby's on her own. Okay, so then she goes through years and years, and she's supposed to... to me, she looked like she was 23. The older she gets is like, well, apparently she's supposed to be in her 40s. So she lives, and she's has a series of boyfriends that they all break up with her because she's always distracted, because she's always looking at the woman over there, right? And again, look, right now, okay, what's she, 18, 19? She looks like the same age, right? And now she's wearing glasses. Oh, look, it's her 40th birthday. And that's the only sign that she's supposed to be 40. So this is now, she was 18, so there's 22 years in the future, which makes it 2046, the year of, what's his name? But she kind of like got used to it. It's been there. But she doesn't look 40. I'm sorry. She doesn't look 40. She looks 23 maximum. And like, why could, here, one second. Let me just show you an example of another bit of Doctor Who where they made somebody look older and it worked seamlessly, right? Absolutely seamlessly. Where is it? Doink. I have to go there. Doctor Who. It's interesting that you're going in for this one. Not that one. Yeah, okay. Fine. So this bit in he was so good in this. Oh man. Wait, is this the first part or the second part? Oh, this is the wrong one. This is the first part. I want to get the second part. Hang on. Share screen. And we're doing this to show old age makeup, right? That's entirely the reason. Video file. Sorry. Where'd it go? Family of Blood. Okay, not Human Nature. Oh, is this still the bit where he lives his life that he never lived, right? And it's just heartbreaking. Oh, where is it? Oh, there you go. But look, they have him aging.
They're all safe, aren't they? The children, the grandchildren.
Oh God! Now I'm tearing up. Okay, what? This is the problem. If you watch this next to the current Doctor Who, and I'm like, I'm down on Tennant right now, right? But look, he looks like he's older. She doesn't. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy with Millie Gibson always looking young. Okay, that works for me, right? But like, she doesn't look like she's 40. So now she sees the villain of the piece show up again, sort of half an hour into a 45-minute episode, right? Okay, and he's, what's his bloody name again? Hang on. Roger Ap Gwilym, right? Roger Ap Gwilym. And he's a populist politician, and he's and then she's breaking up with another guy. And so when she hears Gwilym being interviewed, she remembers the doctor talking about him, and she remembers the doctor talking about Roger Ap Gwilym, and then she remembers he says his name was Red Jack in an interview, something like Mad Jack or something like that. They used to call him Mad Jack, and that was the name on one of the notes she saw in this circle. So she knows, oh, he must be the bad guy, right? He must be the bad guy. So again, it's all very Trumpish, Nigel Farage-ish, and she goes to here. I want to help. I want to again. What's the job? How did our life go? Like, it's just such a weird episode about. Like, this is really where it goes off the rails, in my opinion. So yeah, I'll do anything. Fine. I'll even hold the coats. Cut to, she's holding the coats, right? And he's being interviewed, and he's saying that, oh yeah, I want to fire a nuclear weapon. Then I said, oh, you'll cut that out, right? And again, I just feel there's a lot of politics out there that has been cut out of this. A bit like, oh, we're the bad Tories, bad Tory, bad. Anyone Bernard should have been the Doctor instead. Yeah, man, you are right. He was really good. I agree with you there. Who said that? JFO. That's a very good point. He's really good, right? So you get to first talking about how he wants to use nukes and stuff like that. Election 46, and like, why does everything look exactly the same? Why not set it? Why not do it in 2024? Like, what's the point of moving? Oh yeah, because you want Ruby to be older, but she's not. I mean, you might as well set it in 2029, right? When she was like, then it would at least have looked the same. Lots of Crosses one said years and years was preachy garbage. No, I felt bad for Rusty Davis when I saw Years and Years. It was his Donald Trump complete meltdown, right? That's essentially, it was his existential angst about Donald Trump. And they were wrong about everything, right? Wrong about everything. I'm Mark the Vickers here. I was going to watch, but an old woman told me to run away from this shit. that would have been better, right? That would have been much, much better. Anyway, so bad guy, and then it gets a bit weirder. She says, what's the name of the person over there? And I thought the person over there might be black, and so he could like get into being racist and stuff like that. But no, that did nothing, right? There's not. I don't know. But she's holding a different coat apparently. Okay, so then he wins a landslide victory for the Albion Party. Okay, and again, this disdain for popularism is disgusting. I am sorry that you and your little elite ivory towers have decided that women have penises and anybody who doesn't think so is a Nazi, right? The populist point of view is not quite that. We're fine. Live and let live. You do you, I'll do me. Stop telling me how to think and stop crushing free speech. It's funny. I saw, who was it? I don't know. So somebody on Twitter is going, like, how on earth can anybody claim there's cancel culture? Who's ever been cancelled? I mean, what about the guy who wrote Father Ted? I mean, like, there's thousands of people. So anyway, he wins the election, and everyone's like, yay! And then she goes to, again, none of this makes sense or works, right? This is where it would have made more sense if they're building up this threat of, and he was like it would have worked better if he was a right-wing loon, but it would have worked worse because it would be full of Rusty Davis politics. Again, my working theory is I have two. It could go two ways. Either this is shit and incompetent, which could well be because we've seen a lot of that, or it was edited to take the politics out of it, somewhat gutting the episode, right? I get a feeling that's what happened with the James Bond movie, the last one. I think it just gutted the episode. If the episode is about, right-wing bad, Orange Man bad, which they always bloody are, then and you take it out, you're left with somewhat like nothingness, which is what we have. So Ruby, again, is this a 40-year-old? Why can't you put some fucking makeup on her? Oh, God. And you keep talking about your $1 billion budget. Like, what the hell? I haven't seen any evidence of this. And like, this is essentially a bottle episode in an 8-episode season, which needs to establish a new era, and it's failing. It's totally failing to do that. It's totally failing to engage the public with it. It is failing, right? And don't get me wrong, Ruby, Millie is somebody you could hang an episode on. But again, just make her look like she's a little bit bloody older. I mean, I don't understand this. Add some crow's feet. I don't know. Make her have the skin be, I don't know, a little. Just make her look older. It's your bloody job. Can't you do that? Right? I don't know. She's probably allergic, so they fired her. Could be. That could be. So anyway, so this is the woman who, what's the name? The guy was asking about. And the implication of this scene is that he's raped her or is abusing her or doing something like that. And they don't really explain it. Should I bother watching this episode? Matthew Burrows, no, because it goes nowhere and it's predictable and it's boring. Right, at this point, they schlepped the mystery out too long without there being a plot point, right? We should have got a plot point that gave you a clue to where we're going with the mystery about 15 minutes ago. But we don't get any clues, right? And that's why it's boring, right? Tommy Robinson, people have been cancelled, Carl Benjamin. Yeah, but they're like, they're garbage people. They deserve to be cancelled. So anyway, she's kind of indicates that he's raped her or they got some kind of abusive relationship going on, right? So then, again... By the way, this episode, other than dealing with abandoned children, which again the whole season is based on, also has the lovely trope of touching grass. Right? Amazing. Here, look at this. At the beginning, Shooty touched grass at the beginning and vanished. There, here's him touching grass, and then he's gone. Right? And then he's gone. So they're at this, I don't know, football field, and they're going to fill it up with people. And again, this is poorly written. It really is. It's poorly written. So Ruby's got this plan, and it's a bit of a dumb plan, and they're not allowed to go on the grass for a reason they never explain. But she goes on the grass anyway, right? And she's wearing a 40-year-old 40-year-old outfit. Right? She goes on here. 1 second. Like how they're trying to sell that she's 40. Where is it? Can I get the... Yeah. No, she's just wearing kind of older clothes for no apparent reason. And on her phone, she says she worked out that she's 73 yards away when she's talking in the conversation with Kate Lethbridge Stewart, right? And again, why didn't she just go and find the 14th Doctor? Whatever. So she's like 55 yards away. And like, get off the grass, and they're going to shoot her for being on the grass, right? And she's, I mean, what like, why? Again, none of this makes any sense, right? And then she go back till she's 73 yards, and then the woman appears right next to him, and this plan again doesn't work because. Like, how did she know she was going to appear next to him? How maybe she would have been 73 yards in the other direction, but no, right? And then her plan was they talk to each other, and he talks to her, and then he runs screaming, "Yeah, he's gone," and she saved the world, right? Yeah, he's gone, and he resigns. And it did. Like, why did they even talk to each other? I don't understand, right? I don't understand. You know why I don't understand? Because it's not written to be understood. It's just like, I don't know, this thing is just really, really mindless. So he's resigned, and then, and he says, ask her, I think here, we'll see, play the clip. Why did you resign? Ask her. That's what he says. Talking about the woman. So she's all happy with herself, and the woman's still there. 40 years later, okay? This is what I didn't like about The Devil's Hour, because it was like, Devil's Hour is Peter Capaldi, and he plays a guy who is on a time loop. Or lives, whenever they die, they get reborn back in exactly the same place they were in the 70s, and they could navigate life by living it and trying different things. Why does he resign? He should just hate Ruby. None of it makes sense, will of the fans, right? Just none of it makes sense. It had such a great setup. I'm sorry. How far are we now? When we were over here, this was stretch leaping on a bit, right? But it was a great setup. 40 years later, right? And now somebody's taking her up to see the TARDIS where it was left, and they left the flowers there. It's got grass growing out of it. It's green. I mean, I like the whole abandoned TARDIS thing, right? And this is, who knows, her daughter, some relative, who cares? I don't know. Right? And that's basically what happens to the TARDIS. And the woman's still behind her. And then it's like, is it the same time? Is it years later? I don't know. But she's laying in bed, and she's very old. And then as she's wakes up, and then there's the old woman is there in the room with her. Finally, she's close, right? Finally, she comes close, and it comes closer and closer and closer. And next thing you know, she's the old woman, and she's looking at Ruby and the doctor over there, right? Matthew Burrows says there will be no spin-offs ever. I don't know. Like, again, they don't care that nothing's working and everything's failing and losing money, right? It doesn't seem to bother them. Fine. So then she goes back in time. Okay, how? There's not even a suggestion like, oh, could be this. Nothing, right? It's just, I don't know. I think somebody said in the chat that if I forgot what I was going to say now. Totally forgot. Never mind. Fine. So they're like saying, "Oh, who's that old woman?" And apparently she's saying, "Don't step." And he's about to step on it, and he doesn't step, and that she vanishes, and they have a whole new and that whole 80-year timeline. Colin Archer is saying that it could have been 73 years until, which is why it's 73 yards that she lives a life, but it's never really explained. Could be, maybe not. I don't know, right? And they go off, and it's done, right? There you go. And then you got Dot and Bubble next week. So a lot of good elements in this, right? A lot of very strong building blocks in this episode, but they weren't built into anything. It was a complete dud in my mind, right? It was a real complete dud. Yet weirdly, people are lauding it as like one of the greatest bits of Doctor Who of all time. How? Right? I mean, basically, like, how? Let's look at the Guardian review. Not the Guardian, the Independent. I mean, honestly, look, guys, you got to understand the reason that, well, not fan. Look, I don't begrudge another fan enjoying this and watching this, but I think when the Independent says they like it, they're like, we like him being black and gay, right? That's what they're saying. Warning: this review is also a recap, meaning it contains spoilers for the episode. Well, we already did that, right? It's pretty done spoiled at this point, right? So where are we up to? Finally, it's here. The first Doctor Who classic of the Tudor Gut. No, it's not. No, it's not. How is this a classic? I'm sorry. A classic is the classic is normally people go to university say, yeah, that's a classic. Right, that's an absolute classic. No one said this is that's not a universal take on it, right? A lot of people like me go, this was a bit shit. Like, it went nowhere. It didn't put itself together. How is this a classic? Ironically, the 15th Doctor amps out mostly almost the entirety of 73 yards. Well, that is one of the things in its favor, that Ncuti Gatwa isn't in it. And like, because Ncuti Gatwa was just kind of annoying, quite frankly. But it's nonetheless an adventure made in his sincere, dashing image. What do you mean? No, it's not. It also passes a litmus test for any great Doctor Who installment. Would it work even without the Doctor? Well, it didn't work, and the Doctor wasn't in it. The answer is stonkingly in the affirmative. But it didn't make sense, right? It just meandered and went nowhere and said nothing. So in what way did that work? I answer, if you enjoyed it, fine. The Overton 70 yards is folk horror stables from of the form of the Wicker Man. Starts at the Doctor Assistant Ruby, the excellent Millie Gibson, we agree there, materializing on a cliffside in Wales, while taking in the view They blunder into a magic circle. Oh, fuck. That you're saying magic circle just annoys me. Right? I'm trying to think, what episode of the Demons is the Third Doctor's explanation of magic? Right? I can't remember. I wish I could play that. Yeah, one second. Maybe I can find it on YouTube. We go YouTube. Doctor Who Demons Magic Explained. Did that come right up? 5-round rapid, exclusive, no. No. Just the man, there's a video explaining the ending. I don't. No. It's sad I can't find it. But there's a great where the Third Doctor explains like how magic and science are coexist, right? And what he says basically it's science by the end of it. Anyway, fine. Well, taking the video of London Magic Circle, I fucking hate that. Opening alternative timeline in which the Doctor disappears and Ruby. Why? Why did he disappear? And Ruby is left at fend for herself. I mean, maybe when the Doctor reappears, he could have like explained something. I mean, not everything. You don't need to like fill in every blank, but like one or two of them, maybe, or suggest them. Suggest what it could be. But the showcase for Gibson's Ruby quickly expands beyond the boundaries of the specific genre that to become a sprawling tale of destiny. How? Again, it just how? Self-determination and learning to live and love your flaws and limitations. Well, I don't know. I don't think that's the bestest message, frankly. If that was a message, I think you should always strive to be more, right? And it's not a flaw having a creepy, spectral woman, following you at 73 yards for 80 years. That's not a flaw. That's weird shit. You got to let whatever. I don't know. There's a scary woman doing weird hand signals and cackling. I don't think she was cackling. Just outside of earshot. Could an ardent Whovian want for anything more? Yes. I don't know. Pyramids of Mars, maybe. Like anything else. What is especially telling is the first 4 episodes in this latest season. 73 Yards is both the best and by far the least Hollywood. That's true. I agree with them there. I do agree with that there a lot. Right? Yeah, it's the best and the least Hollywood. Yeah. It's the least dependent on spectacle. The BBC has allowed it to splash out on effects, and there have been moments where you could have been watching a Marvel movie with better tailoring. I don't care. And there's almost no whiz-bang adornments in 73 Yards. They've rewound to the hallowed days when the heroes would tramp around a windswept, overcast, real-world location. A back-to-basic vibe that adds to the wizardry. Well, I don't think it adds to, but I think that's maybe the reason people really, really like it, right? I think that's, the feeling that it's not on green screen, right? But it's that they're actually on in a Welsh cliff top location. Yeah, I think by curtailing the production mistakes of the previous few episodes doesn't make this a classic, right? I think it highlights how weak the other episodes have been. Before the Doctor disappears, he has time to share a breadcrumb with Ruby. He mentions the notorious Welshman from the future, Roger Aquilin, the most dangerous PM in history. Only Ruby isn't paying attention. She's busy poking through the contents of the magic circle where she reads a note saying, "Rest in peace, Mad Jack. What's going on? No point asking. The Doctor has just vanished." But what's this? A woman on the horizon, 73 yards away, as we will discover, is making hand gestures towards Ruby, saying something. Heading for the local village, Ruby discovers that a woman has become her shadow, following her constantly, but staying distant and out of earshot. Ruby asks strangers to help, but they lose their wits whenever they approach a woman and peg it for the hills. Okay. Showrunner Rusty Davis has fun with raw archetypes early in the installment. And again, all this would have been good if it went anywhere. Not like just up its own arse, which is basically what it did. And the puppeteer discovers locals are not superstitious yokels she takes them for. They include Cian Phillips as a woman named Enid. And she was actually very good in it. She was one of the better elements. A lot of the elements are good. Okay, when you have all these elements here, you don't put them together, they're not put together. Right? It's that simple. She eventually returns to London, where her adopted mother, Carla Michelle Greenidge, is driven mad by the woman. The penny drops. Ruby's latest adventure through time and space is going to be a long-haul affair. Okay. Robert of her sanity, Carla abandons Ruby, changes the locks in her flat, and asks never to speak to her daughter again. Ruby sensibly makes contact with Kate Lethbridge Stewart. Good scene. We saw that. And the paranormal task force unit. It used to be alien, a scientific task force. Now it's the paranormal task force. Actually, they do mention that. So recently, we've been doing much more paranormal stuff, right? Okay. Said in the bio that she survived Peter O'Toole. I can imagine. So awkwardly they try and detain the woman. They all go bonkers too. Okay. Here is the where the episode pivots into something special. What? Where? In a montage soundtrack by Libby Sifri Watch Me, we see Ruby getting on with her life. The show signals that she's in her 30s by having her wear oversized glasses. Yeah, and glug wine from a huge glass. It did not work, right? That was a failure. The aging of Millie Gibson was a failure, and that's something you should have been able to do, right? And it's really stupid that they didn't do that. Like, why? I don't really why. It's beyond me. So it becomes a fantastic showcase for Gibson. I agree. Who has to go where fewer doctor assistants have gone before? You know what this is like? This is like. Let's say, I've always had a fantasy, right? That Big Finish would. This will never happen because he can't stand Doctor Who fandom now, or Doctor Who, and they probably can't stand him. But if Big Finish went to Gareth Roberts, right, and say, let's do Gareth Roberts Doctor Who, and as if you were the showrunner, what would you do, right? But it's a cheap thing. It's not like a massive deal, right? It's like a few box sets. That's what this feels like. It feels like. This is Rusty Davis fanfic, right? That he's made. And it really does feel that way. Right? This will be an interesting to do on a Big Finish box set in one disc. Yes, this is an interesting idea. As part of the tentpole of British TV and this global franchise about this character, with virtually half a season, if that. It's a bottle episode without Ncuti Gatwa. And again, don't get me wrong, I don't like Ncuti Gatwa, but they should be desperate to get him on the screen as much as humanly possible because they think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Oh. But yes, fantastic showcase for Gibson. I agree with you, right? Let's go. A few doctors have gone before and carry the whole endeavor on her shoulders. I think Catherine Tate did it way better. Way better in Turn Left, right? This variation of unit sucks. I agree with you, Mary Ballas. I hate unified intelligence task force. It's like WBA for military intelligence. Yes, it is, right? There isn't a single gun-ho presence. It looks more like a boardroom of women in a women's magazine, and a boring one as that. There's been 2 bottle episodes in one season. What's the second bottle episode? You had, I wouldn't call Boom a bottle episode, or none of the 3 we've seen so far, right? Yeah, where did all the money go? I don't know. Maybe in Coke. Maybe there's just lots of Coke going around Bad Wolf and Disney, which is why they thought this was really well. But then again, Look at the plaudits going on. People like it. They're like, people are saying, this is superb. This is I don't get it. She pulls it off. She pulls it off impressively. No, she doesn't. She does her best, and she struggles, and she doesn't convince me that she's more than 23. Right? It just doesn't work. She learns to accept that she is a woman, that she and the woman are meant to be together. She has no choice but to go make peace. After a while, she even seems to grow. Where was it? After a while, where'd it go? After a while, she even seems to grow fond of her eternal shadow. Yeah, okay. Davis shows his hand and reveals the theme of 73 Yards is learning to embrace the difficulties that life throws at you and carry on regardless. Is that the... Well, that's what she does. Is that the theme of the episode? I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. I think that's looking into it a bit too deeply, right? In my opinion. And throws at you regardless. It's a love letter to stoicism and delivers a real punch. It doesn't. Right? It doesn't. Then there's another trip. As Ruby slogs ruefully onwards, Roger Aquilin, the trigger-happy despot that Doctor Who warned about, emerges as a Trumpian star. Oh no, Trump! Of politics. Again, do you remember having the best economy of our lives? We all had money in our pockets and world peace. Like, this is why I am so sick of this elitism looking down their nose at populism. Populism, generally speaking, looks after people like you and me. Fine. Oh, yeah, so he says, I was a jack of all trades. Says Gwilym on the news. Mad Jack, they used to call me, right? There it is, the connection between Aquilin and the magic circle. And why was he talking about that before he stepped into the circle? Again, I think this is badly written, right? I think this is badly written. Where is it? So the case of Gwilym, magic circle, Ruby and the Doctor blundered into, determined to stop his obvious warmonger. This obvious warmonger, she posed as a supporter, signs up for a campaign, and is by his side when he wins the election. I mean, how'd you go from one to the other? But okay, again, doesn't really matter. I like it in another review. They said, "Oh, she's cut from the same. Gwilym's cut from the same cloth as Emma Thompson's is it Thompson? Yeah, character from Years and Years. Yes, they're both based on Donald Trump. You fuckwit. Okay. She knows the plan is to withdraw from NATO and unleash a wave of nukes. Well, look, NATO is essentially an arms dealer, right? And I'm sorry, the war in Ukraine, it was very much aggressively started in my opinion, by NATO. It was, look, when Russia withdrew their troops from East Germany, right? They said, please, it was done with the proviso that they don't, the West, NATO doesn't migrate east. And in like the 40 years that followed, they went 1,000 miles east until they're basically on their doorstep, right? Ukraine is their doorstep, and they were very clear they won't tolerate a Ukraine in NATO, a Ukraine that's on their doorstep, right? And they're very clear about that. The whole thing really seems to be about stealing the Russians' natural gas business and taking it for themselves. Okay. For NATO. But again, don't tell me NATO is so great. So he wants to withdraw from NATO, then launch the nukes. Again, it's so there's no believability there, right? This is a Trump derangement syndrome writer's take on right-wing people. Oh, they just want to kill everybody. They hate black people. And I think they just cut that down because they saw their ratings were in the shitter, right? So he wants to use it just for fun. How do you stop a lunatic by driving them mad, of course? At the they didn't drive them mad. They just ran away from Ruby and terrified. At the rehearsal for Gwilym's big rally in a football stadium, he stands 73 yards from. She stands 73 yards from the aspiring dictator. Presto, the lady appears along Gwilym, and he's whipped into frenzy by her whispering, and she dashes off. Oh, man. Davis isn't dumb. However, the rest of Ruby's life plays out. No, it doesn't. It then goes 40 years later. We see her as an old lady on the deathbed. Shadow looms. The ghost woman finally gets close. And one last reveal. Ruby opens her eyes, and she's back where she was in Wales, gazing at her younger self. Again, I guessed that right at the beginning. I said, that can't be because it's too bloody obvious, right? And it just was. So the old lady who has stalked Ruby is Ruby herself. A baffling twist. Well, baffling, yes. Worthy of Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey. No, 2001: A Space Odyssey wasn't baffling in any way, shape, or form. I'm sorry. 2001 had a very like understandable plot, right? Why would you say that's baffling? Oh, right, because you're a fucking moron. Honestly, what's baffling about 2001? Yeah, he goes into the black slab at the end, becoming a high evolutionary life form, sort of, with Hal. Is there any logic to it? Not really. No, I kind of like that. No, I don't like that. Was it 2001: Space Odyssey, which the deathbed scenes echoes presumably on purpose. No, it's not on purpose. God, this guy's an imbecile. Is there any logic to it? Not really, no. But at an emotional level, it's hugely impactful. I'm sorry, there's no emotional level when it doesn't make sense, when it's totally illogical. So let's let Davis off the hook. No, for not fully for not fully laying out how and why how and why of it all. For him, it's all about the vibes. Well, I'm sorry, the vibes isn't enough, right? The vibe isn't enough. Back in the present day, young Ruby here's a message from her future incarnation. Don't step. She stops the doctor stomping into the magic ring. Look, this was done so much better. What's that Star Trek episode where they keep getting blown up and they Data has to send the message 3, knowing that he's supposed to follow Riker's suggestion? What was that one? Cause and effect. Was it cause and effect? Maybe. Does the from the stomping of the magic ring and the alternate timeline never happens, and Geo returned to the TARDIS, the ridiculously expensive TARDIS that really doesn't work at all. Does the ending make any sense? No! Possibly, though, you'll probably need a flowchart. No, it doesn't. Okay, if you can't explain, like, again, a suggestion of an explanation of how they came back in time, right? Then you can't do much then. Well, we have to, and lots of string to work it out. It also feels weird for Davis to depict a patriotic Welsh person as an avatar for British nationalism. But never mind. 73 Yards is moving and provocative episode. No, I found it neither. How's it provocative? There's a gumption to put the fantastic new Doctor Who on the sidelines. He wasn't fantastic, even as it soars like the TARDIS accelerating through a supernova. It's a 5-star knockout all day. This person is insane. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.